Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is the Bodega Cat Book Club Health Edition, and we are going to continue our reading of Never Be Sick Again by Raymond Francis. And today we're going to start with Chapter 2, Part 1. Chapter 2, Your Potential for Health. And here again is his diagram of one disease, cellular malfunction, two causes, which is deficiency and toxicity, and 6 pathways: nutrition, toxin, psychological, physical, genetic, and medical. All righty, here we go. Let me move the camera a little closer so you guys can read it. Okay. There is no reason in the world why over 75% of the American people should be suffering from degenerative and deficiency diseases. Disease never comes without a cause. If a person is sick and ailing, it is because he has been doing something wrong. He needs an education in how to live a healthy life. J. M. Hoffman, PhD, Hunza. Most people expect to be sick at least one or more times each year, to cope with at least one serious illness by midlife, and in all likelihood to die of one or several diseases by their 80s, if not sooner. Most people also think poor health is mainly the result of bad luck, and that their longevity is a matter of good fortune. Nothing could be further from the truth. Poor health is not a matter of luck. Poor health is a matter of choice. We do not get sick. We make ourselves sick by making bad choices, and conversely, we get healthy and stay healthy by making good ones. Most people feel that they are healthy as long as they have no symptoms of disease. Few people realize what optimal health really feels like, and even fewer accept the notion that a vigorous and healthy life beyond 100 years old is within reach. In reality, that kind of long life is what we should all routinely expect. Meet the face of optimal health. His name is Jose Maria Roa, and he is 131 years old. Jose lives with his family in a small village high in the Andes Mountains of Ecuador. While his face is weather-worn, his mind is keen, his heart is healthy, his teeth are strong, and the lines around his face are born of smiles and the joy of a loving wife and family. Still working on his small farm every day and enjoying an active sex life, Jose fathered his last child at the age of 107. Holy moly, 107. When asked if he'd ever been sick, he replied, "Yes, I have been." Jose had a few colds. That's it, in 131 years. Until his death at 137, Jose remained in perfect health. Surely this is not normal. Isn't Jose a medical miracle, an aberration of nature? Not so. In his remote village, Jose's health and longevity are far from unusual explains. Oh, sorry. In his remote village, Jose's health and longevity are far from unusual, explains Morton Walker, DPM. I wonder what that stands for. Whose 1985 book, Secrets of Long Life, is based on his study of these hardy people native to the Vilcabamba Valley. For instance, in his queries to the Vilcabambans about the mental health of their society, Walker asked if the older people suffered memory loss due to dementia. They didn't understand the question, and in fact, did not even have words in their language to describe such a condition. Meanwhile, we are told that dementia is a disease of aging and the price we must pay for our so-called longevity. As I studied Jose and people like him, I began to understand the potential that all humans have to be healthy. In America today, we are usually told and believe that illnesses like cancer, arthritis, dementia, osteoporosis, diabetes, and heart disease are diseases of aging. But these chronic conditions are not the inevitable result of growing older. Rather, they are the inevitable result of living lifestyles that cannot support human health. In America today, these conditions are epidemic. Having achieved enormous advances in science and medicine, why are we experiencing the largest epidemic of chronic disease in human history? As I studied patterns of health and disease, I made a profound discovery. I learned that disease does not just randomly happen, it occurs for specific reasons. We are not typically perfectly healthy until we get sick, nor does perfect health return once disease has run its course. Although we tend to perceive life this way, the distinctions between health and disease are far less black and white. Remember your cells. Only after massive numbers of cells malfunction or die do you begin to notice symptoms of disease. In other words, you are already sick before you get sick. People who are truly healthy do not get sick. If you stop to consider what it might be like to live in good health to a ripe old age, everything begins to seem different. This potential for health can be described as optimal health, where your cells are functioning as well as they possibly can. This level of health is almost guaranteed to keep disease at bay. A poor record. Very few Americans grow old in good health and die naturally from the aging process. Instead, we get sick and die from entirely preventable diseases such as cancer, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Preventing these health problems is simple, and I will teach you how to do it. But first, realize how dire our health problems really are. The United States spends far more on health in total and per capita than any other nation in the world. But our overall health still ranks quite poorly. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, the United States ranks 37th in overall health quality. It should serve as a wake-up call for all Americans when a third world country like Oman spends only $334 per person per year on health and ranks 8th in the world, while the United States spends more than 10 times that much, and we are 37th. Considering what we spend on healthcare, shouldn't we be the healthiest nation on earth? We are not. People in their teens or early 20s should be at peak levels of health, right? Not in our society. Autopsies performed on accident victims of this age group in Los Angeles revealed that nearly 80% had early stages of heart disease. 15% had arteries that were more than half blocked. Had these young people survived, they would likely have been victims of stroke or heart attack. They may have appeared healthy and lived normal lives, but they were definitely not healthy. In a matter of perspective, our own ill health does not stand out when compared to our unhealthy friends and neighbors. The allergies, the colds, the flu, the arthritis, the premature aging, all of these seem perfectly normal. But it is so common in our society, we have come to believe that disease is an inevitable, natural, normal part of the aging process. We mistake being able to function for being healthy. We perceive sick as being bedridden or housebound, and healthy as being able to go about our normal activities. Healthy does not merely mean being ambulatory or free of obvious disease symptoms. Healthy means functioning at the highest level that genetic capacity allows. As in other areas of life, recognizing and admitting the problem is half the battle. Unfortunately, we are a sick population, growing sicker by the day, and worse yet, blind to our sickness. According to recent estimates in medical journals, including the April 1999 Effective Clinical Practice, 3/4 of the American population has a diagnosable chronic disease. We suffer from many health problems, and most of us take medications to deal with these problems. In 1997, national survey sponsored by Parade magazine found that about two-thirds of us regularly take prescription or over-the-counter drugs. This survey also reported that about two-thirds of Americans believe themselves to be in good or excellent health. My question to you is this: how is it possible to be in good health if you're taking medications and experiencing symptoms of sickness? Even when statistical evidence is presented, many people fail to recognize their own sickness on a personal level. For example, most people with allergies don't think of themselves as having a chronic disease. Did you know that chronic allergic reactions tax the body and the immune system, making one much more susceptible to infections and other diseases? Allergies are a serious immune dysfunction disease, not just a benign inconvenience. Every allergic reaction does long-term damage to the body. Allergies reduce overall quality of life and ultimately reduce longevity. Healthy people do not have allergies. We think we're healthy, but we're not. At a seminar I was leading, a man stood up and talked about how he jogged every day and how healthy he was. A few pointed questions later, it was revealed that this man had diabetes, the seventh leading cause of death in America. Some groups assert that we are now healthier and living longer, but that claim seems like propaganda to me. The incidence of virtually every chronic disease continues to increase, and the health of the American people is in a long-term downward trend. Long-term downtrend. In 1996, the Journal of the American Medical Association documented that 25% of Americans under age 18 had at least one chronic disease. The disease rate increases to 45% between ages 45 and 65, and to 88% over age 65. Take diabetes, for example. In August 2000, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, announced its most recent statistics on the increases in rates of diabetes. In 1980, 2% of newly diagnosed cases of adult onset diabetes were in people under age 19. In 2000, that number was approaching a staggering 50%. Separately, in just eight years from 1990 to 1998, diabetes jumped 33% nationally and went up a whopping 70% among people ages 30 and 39. According to Dr. Frank Vinocourt, the director of CDC, this kind of increase in just 8 years is almost unheard of. The experts at the CDC caution that even these numbers understate the problem, because about one-third of American diabetes do not realize they have the disease. Asthma is another example of how fast we are becoming sicker. The CDC reports that the number of Americans with asthma increased 61% between 1982 and 1994. Mortality from asthma increased 45% between 1985 and 1995. Asthma is now the leading cause of school absenteeism, and the death rate from asthma is increasing at the rate of 6% per year. Obesity is another increasing problem that we must face. Childhood obesity doubled from 1980 to 2000, and most children do not outgrow this problem. Childhood and teenage obesity affects lifelong health, with a risk 7 times higher for developed clogged arteries later in life. Did you know that more than 1 in 5 teenagers are overweight, and that almost 2 of 3 adults are overweight or obese? Other diseases are increasing too, including allergies, autoimmune disease, attention deficit disorders, birth defects, and chronic fatigue. Cancer is now, after accidents, the leading cause of death for children, and cancer used to be rare in young people. Wow, those statistics are amazing. And I'm sure those are have increased exponentially since then. They may mention 2000, so it's 2025 now, so it's 25 years. You probably triple or quadruple those numbers that he cited. All right, moving on. Would you believe that we have come to expect disease? That we believe in the certainty of sickness more than we believe in the certainty of wellness? That people expect to get sick to such a degree that they hold on to jobs they dislike just to keep their health benefits. Talk about mixed up priorities. We are accustomed to disease and we expect it to occur. When we do get sick, we often feel victimized or helpless, as if struck by a bolt of lightning. We never think that we have done it to ourselves or that we might choose to do otherwise. Leaving the good life. Our lifestyles have changed along with the evolution of what is broadly called modern civilization. Since the Industrial Revolution, changes have occurred in how we grow our foods, what kinds of food we consume, what we take into our bodies, the lifestyles we live, and what we put into the environment. Many of these changes rob us of the nutrients our cells need in order to be healthy and expose us to toxins that interfere with normal cell function. An editorial by Joseph Sugar, MD, in the January 2000 Hippocrates, Hippoc. I'm very tempted to say hip, Hippocrat, hippo. Oh, what was that word? Hippocratic. Oh, never mind. Hippocrates, Hippocrates, anyways, the doctor, the physician, said that lifestyle factors now loom as the leading cause of premature death. As I began to discover the incredible health and longevity of certain healthy populations around the world, and to look at how these people live their lives, I began to understand the potential for health. In contrast to the historically healthy populations I will tell you about, such as the Hunzas in northeastern Pakistan and other groups such as the Vilcabambans, and Cuenca Indians in Ecuador, the average American is not doing well at all. We significantly compromise our health with nutritionally deficient diets, environmental toxins, sedentary lifestyles, chronic stress, bad habits such as smoking and drug use, and lack of positive emotions and meaningful relationships, not to mention the damaging outcomes of symptom management by modern medicine. In terms of deficiency and toxicity, the two causes of disease, here are examples of how lifestyle factors make us sick. Nutrition failures. Fruit and vegetable plants are now grown with artificial fertilizers that produce more food per acre, but these foods are not nearly as rich in nutritional content. Use of artificial fertilizers has led to depletion of minerals in the soil because they do not add minerals to replace those being lost with each new crop. Soil depletion leads to nutritional deficiency in all of us. Since foods are not eaten fresh off of the plant, many must be harvested before they are ripe in order to prevent spoilage during transportation and distribution. This premature harvesting does not allow food to reach its full nutritional maturity, thereby contributing to nutritional deficiency. Interesting. I never thought about that. Harvesting the plants before they're ripe. Yeah, interesting. The nutritional content of the food then further deteriorates as the food ages during storage, transportation, and distribution. Food is often processed, further depleting its nutritional content in order to make it easier to store and consume. Among these foods are flour, pasta, bread, sugar, canned, and packaged foods. Cooked foods are also nutritionally inferior to raw ones, and most of the American diets consist of both processed and cooked foods. Toxic assaults. The farming of large single crops has created new and serious problems of insect manifestations, necessitating the use of insecticides. These insecticides, along with the use of herbicides and fungicides, have made food production methods a significant contributor to our toxic environment and food supply. The modern processed food industry adds man-made preservatives, flavors, colors, and other toxic chemicals to our foods. No one knows what the combination of all these chemicals is doing to our bodies. Energy demands, first for coal and now for gas and oil, are constantly polluting our environment. Virtually all of our industrial processes, from printing our daily newspapers to painting our homes and building cars and computers, have led to the introduction of tens of thousands of man-made chemicals into our environment, all of which put toxic loads into our body. Over the past century or so, dramatic changes in diet and environment have created a society of nutritionally deficient and chemically toxic Americans. Virtually all of the food we can buy in a modern supermarket is nutritionally inferior to the foods our ancestors consumed. The purity of the air and water our ancestors enjoyed no longer exists, but all is not lost. Sources do exist today where we can find quality foods with high nutritional content. We can lower our daily toxic exposure, but first we need to learn where to look and how to take charge. What I found helpful was to study those people who have already shown us the way. Small populations of people in remote areas around the world have shown us how simply meeting the body's needs along each of the 6 pathways can result in tremendous energy, stamina, and lack of disease until age 120, 130, or even older. I will tell you more about these remarkable people, and I also tell how the intrusions of modern civilization into these populations since the 1970s have robbed them of their stunning health and longevity. Recognizing our potential. While 75 is considered a ripe old age in our modern society, traditionally healthy societies considered 75 more middle age. People in these societies rarely died before their 90s and commonly lived well into their hundreds, reaching 120, 130, and older, free of disease. In March 1961, an article in the Journal of the American Medical Association reported on evidence that men in Hunza lived to be 120 and even 140 years old. Hunza men and women over 100 exhibited robust energy, in striking contrast to the epidemic of fatigue in our society. These people lived simply and without doctors or hospitals, without nursing homes. In America today, we spend $1.5 trillion a year on healthcare and tens of billions of dollars studying disease. What is it buying us? Certainly not a long, disease-free life. Here's an idea: study health instead of disease. So, what is our potential for health? In his 1968 book, Hunza, J.M. Hoffman, PhD, who had spent years studying the people of the remote Hunza Valley in the Himalayas, quoted prominent physicians and scientists, including the presidents of the American Medical Association and the International Association of Gerontology, as saying that humans should live to be 120 to 150 years old. Recent estimates in biology journals project human life expectancies to exceed 135 years. Even the Bible itself prophesies a long lifespan. Man's days shall be 120 years, Genesis 6:3. Long life is our birthright. We should live to be at least 120 in vigorous health, maintaining physical and mental acuity. In the state of California, actuarial calculations show That average life expectancy for females would be 100 if only one certain disease were eliminated, heart disease, which is entirely preventable through diet and lifestyle. Consider how much longer we might live by eliminating two or more diseases. Perhaps we have forgotten that health is our natural state. We blindly accept our average lifespan of 76 years. We accept that we will succumb to chronic and degenerative diseases. Imagining entire populations who have lived far longer and healthier lives than we do seems inconceivable. People who rarely, if ever, suffered from any disease, including colds, allergies, flu, or even fatigue. How were these people able to do that? Their nutrition was of high quality, their toxic exposure was minimal, they enjoyed psychological well being, and they were quite physically active. Their everyday lifestyles, to a large degree, met all of the factors necessary to support the six pathways toward health. Let us learn from these people. All right, we will stop here for now and we will continue with part 2 next week. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great week and we will see you next Wednesday. Okay, bye-bye now.